So today we're going to talk about solving the linear equations in one unknown. So the linear equation means that we have an unknown, for example, that is x plus 1 equal to 5. So the unknown is actually just a letter. It may not be only be like x, can be a, b, c, whatever, m, n, whatever letters you can use. So to solve it, which means that we're going to put the x on the left hand side and then this is equal to something. So how can we solve it? So first of all, we'll learn about we don't want this plus 1, isn't it? So when you're moving the plus 1 opposite to the equal sign, we need to change the sign. So first of all, you need to understand when you're moving something from a side to another side, then we need to change the sign. So for the positive, we need to change to minus. For the minus, we change to positive. So for example, this plus 1, when we're moving to here, it's going to become x equal to 5 minus 1 because the plus 1 crossing through this equal sign, so that we need to change to minus 1. Okay, so now we compute it, it becomes 5 minus 1 giving you 4. So similarly, if we have a m minus 2 equal to minus 3, then this minus 2, we don't want it on the left hand side, we're moving to the right hand side, so it's going to be plus 2. So now I have the m is equal to minus 3 plus 2. So we compute it just using a calculator. So minus 3 plus 2 giving you negative 1. So that's for the first part. For the second part, we can do some times and division. So for example, if we have 2x equal to 4. So 2x, if there's no symbol between them, then it's actually a letter with a number in between is actually implicit times. So the opposite of times is going to be divide, and opposite of divide is going to be times. So when we do the reverse, then we can say that x is going to be equal to 4 divided by 2. Again, as I don't want to times the 2 on the left hand side, I move it to the right hand side, then becomes divide. So 4 divided by 2 is giving you 2. So similarly, if we have a m divided by 5 equal to 4. So divide, this fraction line just means divide, isn't it? So this fraction line just means divide. So originally on the left hand side, I don't want to be divide. I move it to the right, so it's going to becomes times. So now I have the m is equal to 4 times 5, and use a calculator, this will give you 20. So that's for the basic multiplication about the linear equations. So now you have 3 rules to use when you're solving the linear equations. So first of all, the first rule is calling as the combined unknowns. So we're trying to put all of the unknowns on the same side, and we try to put all of the letters on the same side. So for example, if I have x is equal to minus 3x plus 4, then first of all, you can see there's an unknown on the left hand side, but also there's an unknown on the right hand side as well. So which means that we need to combine the unknowns by together. So we always put the unknowns on the left hand side, which means that for this negative 3x, we're moving to the left, gonna becomes positive 3x. So now I have this is 3x plus x equal to 4. So again, I move this negative 3x to the left hand side, becomes positive 3x, and then this is original positive, so I plus the x. So now I combine them, 3x plus x will give you 4x equal to 4. Then we're back to the normal one, it's actually times, isn't it? So when a number combined with a letter, it's actually have a transparent times between them. So now I don't want the times 4, move it to the right, becomes divide. So 4 divided by 4, giving you x is equal to 1. So that's for the first rule. And the second rule is going to be removing the bracket. So when you see the bracket, I don't want it, then you expand it. So we remove the bracket. So for example, if I have 3 times 2m minus 1 equal to 4m plus 5. So first of all, when you see there's a bracket, then we use the number outside the bracket to times each of them with the sign. Okay, so first of all, we use the 3 times the 2m, and then we use the 3 times the minus 1. So now I have this is 3 times 2m minus 3 times 1 equal to 4m plus 5. So now we can calculate this. So 3 times 2m giving you 6m, and then minus the 3 equal to 4m plus 5. Then back to our first stage, we combine the unknowns, isn't it? So now we combine the unknowns. There's a 6m and there's a 4m as the unknowns. We put them together. So we move this positive 4m to the left hand side, becomes negative. So now I have 6m minus 4m. And then there's a negative 3, which is don't have the unknown, so we're moving to the right. So now negative 3 moved to the right hand side, becomes positive. So now I can write this is 5 plus 3. So now we can simplify. This is 6m minus 4m, which is going to be 2m equal to 8. So back to the original equation. So m just equal to 8 divided by 2. So original, this is times, isn't it? I don't want the times. Moving to the right becomes divide. So m is equal to 4. So lastly, we can calculate our third rules. It's going to be eliminate the fractions. So when you see the fractions, then it's actually a little bit hard. We don't want it. So how can we do that? So first of all, we can try to do p plus 1 divided by 4 is equal to p minus 5. So for this question, then how can we do it? So you can see from here, there's a fraction. So fraction line, as I told you before, is actually just means divide, isn't it? Then you can think about it. As I don't want the divided by 4, I'm moving to the right, then it's going to become times. Exactly. So now I'm moving this divided by 4, then the things left on the top is just p plus 1. Then it's equal to p minus 5, the whole thing times this 4. Remember, it's always the whole thing, okay? So now we're back to the second step, isn't it? We see the bracket, then we try to remove the bracket, which means that I expand the bracket by using the 4 times negative 5, and then I plus the 4 times the p. So I expand them, then now it becomes 4p minus 20, because 4 times negative 5 giving you negative 20. Then back to the first page, then back to the first stage, then we're moving the number, the unknown together. So we move this positive 4p to the left hand side, becomes negative 4p. So I have p minus 4p. Then you can see this is positive 1 without unknown, so I move it to the right hand side, becomes minus. So minus 20 minus 1. So now we can simplify this. So p minus 4p. So p is actually can write it as 1p. So 1 minus 4 giving you negative 3. So negative 3p is going to be equal to negative 20 minus 1 giving you negative 21. So again, this negative 3 times the p, I don't want the negative 3 times it. So I remove this to the right hand side, becomes divide. So now I have the p is equal to negative 21 divided by negative 3. So remember, when two negative numbers divided by each other, then it's going to become a positive number. So if you're not sure about it, then just use a calculator to confirm it, okay? So the p is equal to 7. Okay, so that's gonna be an example about eliminating the denominator, but for this one we only have one denominator. So what's gonna happen if we have two? So for example, if I have x divided by 2 minus x divided by 3 equal to 2. So first of all, you can find the LCM, the lowest common multiple, becomes the denominator, but some of you may think it's harder, so I can try to use another way to teach you. So first of all, this fraction can actually writing by 1 over 2 times x. It's actually the same thing, because when you're using the 1 times the x, it's gonna giving you back this x, isn't it? So you just move this letter out, move this number out. So similar for this one can be writing as negative 1 over 3x equal to 2. So now we can take out our common factor out. So we can take out the x as the common factor. So after we take out the x as the common factor, then we're adding a bracket, so we write down what we left. Then we have 1 over 2 minus 1 over 3 equal to 2. So now we're trying to solve what is this. So this is actually, using your calculator, you can get this is equal to 1 over 6, isn't it? So now I have x times 1 over 6 is equal to 2. So now I don't want this is divided by 2. I'm moving to the right. It's going to become times 6. So now x is going to be equal to 2 times 6, so that the x is equal to 12. So that's the different two ways to solving these linear equations. So we have three rules. The first one is going to be combine unknowns. The second one is remove the brackets. Then the third one is going to be eliminate the fractions. Okay?